Hey, security peeps, we are live with another edition of Breaking Into Cybersecurity. And today I am super excited. Well, I'm Renee Small, cybersecurity super recruiter, bringing awesome cybersecurity talent into the industry, as well as helping leaders bring in amazing talent. And I am over the moon excited today to talk to our special guest, Parsia Bahrami. Parsia, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
So Parsia he just graduated. So congratulations from Marshall High School's STEM Academy.
Thank you very
And
much.
yes, so we are super excited. So congratulations on your high school graduation. And he's here to talk to us about his experience in the Cyber Academy, the different certifications he took, everything that we ask everyone in breaking into cybersecurity. But again, super excited because Parsia literally just graduated from high school like a couple weeks ago. So, Parsia, jump in, start from the beginning. What made you interested in looking at cybersecurity? How did you find out about the academy? Were you already in Marshall High School? Talk to us about this. And this is Marshall High School in Falls Church, Virginia. So go ahead.
All right. Well, hi everyone. So if I have to start, I have to go like very far back to sort of middle school, and how back then I was very interested in basically IT, information technology. I love to tinker with a lot of different projects, engineering projects overall, but I didn't really know exactly where I wanted to go when it came to my job and my future. And that's when high school came in. And before coming to high school, the summer before that, the summer before freshman year, I was looking at sort of the summer camps that I could attend to sort of get ahead when it comes to high school. And there were many summer camps, from the regular math, science, all of that stuff. But ultimately, I actually decided to join a robotics summer camp at Marshall High School STEM Academy. And by doing that, really got interested in how it was done. I learned so much in just a week, got so many hands-on experience that I probably wouldn't have done it by myself for months. And that experience led me to see that Marshall Academy has a great potential when it comes to my interest, when it comes to my passion, which is engineering and technology. And that was when I actually went to attend Marshall High School. The first few weeks, I decided to see what clubs there are to join for me. And immediately I noticed that two of the clubs just stood out: Robotics Club and Cybersecurity Club at Marshall. Now, at that time, both of them had few members, and I joined, and it wasn't very organized. However, that truly, the first day, they talked about everything that they're going to go through in the club and how relaxed it was and how exciting it was. And I didn't know any of the topics they were talking about, which was fantastic, because I was like, I'm going to learn a lot in these clubs. These are not just some clubs people gather to socialize. These are clubs that people actually come to do great things. And however, what truly got me into this industry and to have a passion about cybersecurity and information technology is not necessarily the club and its content, but it was how some of the juniors and seniors at that club, how dedicated they were to teach the members about that content. Some of them I know put their time outside of club. They came during our time, our learn time, during after school, to just specifically teach me and like another friend of mine stuff that were outside of the scope of the cyber club. And that dedication, how like excited they were about the next generation who's trying to get into this industry, and how passionate they were about cyber, and they wanted to transfer that to other people, that really got me thinking that, oh, this is an amazing field. There are many supporting people in it. It's new, it's growing, but certainly the support is there. And from then on, I kept going with the club. That was freshman and sophomore year, joined different teams. We competed in the Cyberpatriot competition, which is sort of a defensive side of cybersecurity. And even to the point where in junior year, I ran as the vice president of the club, and got that position and tried to keep on going with the great legacy that they had left behind. And even in senior year, I was promoted to president. So that was great. I learned a lot in the process. And all of this combined me to think that, oh, I might actually want to do this as a career. This is really cool. This is really exciting. So, but I was like, I need to do things on myself too. It's not just about the club, but I need to actually go out there, find certifications, and try to expand my knowledge. So once I actually leave high school and college, I enter the workforce, I'm ready.
Yeah. No, that is amazing. That's amazing. So take me back to you're in middle school, you take this you take the camp did you do anything prior to middle school? Did you know about, did you have any classes? Was there any exposure prior to taking the 1 week summer camp at the STEM Academy during the summer?
So before that, I never had an actual official exposure. I actually immigrated to this country in 2014 from Iran, and before that, everything that I did, I was still interested in technology and engineering, but everything I did was just limited to finding whatever I can from stores and everything and just tinkering with them, trying to like learn how to do programming prior to that, but no official exposure was done until that summer camp.
That's awesome. So many people here are chiming in. Ben, he sees us, he comes in all the time. And I shout everybody out because this is a group of cybersecurity professionals, and you probably already know this. Like, we just love stories like this. This is an awesome community of people. For the parents out there, because I know that Fairfax County shared this whole live stream with all of the families and members. So, shouting some people out. So, Ben says, "Hi, Parsia."
Hello.
Tyrone says, "Congratulations on your high school." Rosie
Thank you
says,
very much.
"Congratulations." Um, Charles Karanja, he was actually our very first Breaking Into Cybersecurity guest. So he comes back all the time. So he loves your story. And Rosie says her 8-year-old daughter is listening in and
Mhm.
she is interested in cyber. Isn't that cool?
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. If my boys weren't so busy and would completely take over this live stream, I would have them back here too. But that's for another day. So, Parsia, tell me. Okay, so you immigrated here in 2014. You were interested in you were a tinkerer. You're a
Definitely.
tinkerer. You're interested in so many different things. Probably breaking apart things in your parents' house.
Oh yes, that was.
And
We don't talk about that much.
not anymore. And so you go to the summer camp, which is amazing. It's a 1 week boot camp because I've been there. Did you see me speak when I
Yes,
came
I
to?
yes,
You
I've
were in the
seen
group.
you many
Yes.
times.
Right. So
Amazing speeches.
I've come back and brought people to come and talk to the group. And so it's an awesome group of students. It put this summer camp on, and it's 2 weeks, right? There's two different sessions. There's like a basic session, and
Yes.
then there's an advanced one.
Mhm.
And you can be in middle school to join and attend. And so usually people come into that basic one first, and then they go into the advanced one afterwards. But it's 1 or 2 week camp
Uh,
in the summer.
it's a 1 or 2, usually one, but some of them are 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah,
So 1 to 2 weeks in the summertime. And so the students there and are learning about cyber taught by practitioners, correct? So your
that's
teachers
true.
are practitioners in the field
Hmm.
coming in. What are some of the things that you're learning that you learned like when you were in the boot camp? We're going to talk about the boot camp, the summer boot camp, and then we'll kind of progress into the after school club and then kind of what you're doing now. So tell me about when you were in the summer camp. What were some of the things that were taught? What did you learn?
Oh, the summer camp was amazing. We it was a robotics summer camp, and even though I was part of the basic camp, I learned so much because the great thing about that camp was they didn't only teach a certain aspect of robotics. For example, they didn't only teach how to build the robot but not touch any of the code, or they didn't only teach how to code an already built robot. So it was very sort of it included the whole spectrum and how we learned how to build the robot from scratch. And these were like the Vex robotics robots, the smaller robots. Then through that, a lot of hands-on experience. And then after, we learned how to actually then make that robot actually functional and program it. And then after we programmed, the camp was amazing because the director then put a bunch of different courses for us to then practice and actually test our robot in. We had both hands-on, like controllable courses where we had to like race against other camp attendees, and we also had autonomous portions, which was my favorite portion, where we had to program the robot to completely autonomously move through a course, pick up a cube, put it somewhere else. So that was great. This camp really got me also into robotics and how awesome that field is and how growing it is. So I learned a lot in that.
Cool. So then you knew you wanted to go to Marshall High School because they had these cool camps, and there was so many things that you could learn from those camps. And so you come in, you're a freshman. Tell me, were you a part of the Cyber Academy from the beginning, or do you have to be like a certain, did you have to take core classes first, and then when you're a junior, you move into it? Like, how does that work with being inside the academy? So the Cyber Academy is like within the high school.
Yes, Marshall Academy is sort of a separate part, but it's still inside the school. And that's a fantastic question, because this is where I really like to iterate when it comes to starting my own clubs, and when it comes to specifically this clubs, is how there's no experience necessary for members to join. Nobody needs to know anything. Everything is taught in the clubs or the camps, and there's no like prerequisite. It's great because anyone with the only thing you need is a little bit of interest. If you have that interest, you're passionate about these things, you can go in and become very successful. So that's what I really love about these clubs. And with the clubs I worked with making later on, I tried to make sure I put that in as one of the major things. To no experience necessary will help you grow.
That's awesome. So more people are saying, "Hey, superstar." That's what Wolfgang Artner says. Is that one of your professors?
Yes, that's my amazing
That's your teacher?
cyber teacher.
I figured. And then Miss Shelley Farquharson talks about, well, JJ says, passion and perseverance will drive you to great heights. Keep it up. Miss Shelley Farquharson at the school at Marshall High School, she's the one she introduced me and brought me into the school to work with. Well, her and Tony Barnett introduced me to Shelley, and brought me in to work with the students at Marshall. And she said, she's so proud of you, Parsia.
So honored to be here.
Yeah, there's so many people who are just, super excited, rooting for you. And we, this week in particular, we're talking about, and you're going to college, so it's a different discussion, but we talked about, like, we always talk about getting in early, breaking into the industry, and how you can do it at such a young age. And you're here saying to us, I had no experience. I came in middle school. I took this camp. I was super interested. And then, by being taught by the various, your teachers, and being in this club and being supported by this group at Marshall, that you are able to get to the point where you are now. So I'm still walking through. We're going to get to certifications, because I want everyone to know Parsia has a ton of certifications already, and he is getting more this summer. Like, this guy's a superstar. So you're in your classes, you join the club when you get there as a freshman. You become a part of the club. You are participating in Cyberpatriots. Tell everybody what Cyberpatriots is.
Mm-hmm. Cyberpatriot is this major portion of our cyber club that we took part in. It's this very national. Matter of fact, it's actually global, but mostly it's in the U.S. It's this defensive cybersecurity competition that it's basically teams of 5 or 6 gathering together. And we have 6 hours to secure multiple different virtual images, and we basically have to make them unhackable. So as the more we secure it, the more points we get, and we basically get nationally ranked. And my team made it to top 100. Unfortunately, we didn't get to nationals yet. I'm hoping future teams in Cyber Club get to do that. But we got to top 100, and it was amazing being part of that, because I learned so much. It's many different operating systems that you learn to secure, and it's just a super breakthrough into the field of cybersecurity, what people actually do in the field, and it's great. It's a great competition.
Yeah. So your teacher, again, Mr. Artner, says he's going to a great school. He's super excited for you. Yeah, we know. I can't wait. I can't wait 4 or 5 years for you to like be fully into the industry. Oh my goodness. Okay, so cyber patriots, for people, for the parents who are watching who don't fully understand, because this particular breaking into cyber is going to go broader than my usual. I think our usual audience. So typically, the audience is mostly cybersecurity professionals on LinkedIn, and then some of our other breaking into cybersecurity professionals. So they kind of understand a lot of the technology that you're talking about right now. But for parents who are watching, who are just joining YouTube, and they have like a 7-year-old, 8-year-old is tinkering and breaking stuff, and they're like, wow, this looks like a good industry to get them into. Explain what defensive cybersecurity is, and like cyber patriots. I know you explain that it is a competition and you make things unhackable, but from a defense, when you talked about being in the defensive space, explain to them what that means.
Oh, so with Cyber Patriot, the focus is not on necessarily attacking a target or hacking. It's more about defending a target, and how, and it's great because the government, many industries are looking for cybersecurity professionals who know a lot about defensive security, meaning you learn how to protect the network, the internet side of the things. You learn how to protect the operating system so that it doesn't have any flaws, it doesn't have any issues that it can be exploited. And Cyber Patriot is a great competition that teaches you that through sort of a competitive scenario. And what I want to tell the parents is, unfortunately for my time, Cyber Patriot was only for high school, but I know now that Cyber Patriot also has a middle school chapter, which is amazing. It gets people into it, so by the time they come to high school, they already have a base knowledge of all these defensive security concepts. And the great thing is, this basically, a lot of the high schools in the area here, everywhere basically across the U.S. have a cyber patriot competition team. So I'm sure wherever you are, you can, if your kid is interested, you can definitely get into it. And this new partnership between the middle school chapter and the high school chapter certainly allows for competitors to get to even greater places.
That's awesome. So even as a middle schooler with zero experience, with like not knowing anything, not having having no technical background, nothing. If you're in middle school and you're 11 or 10 and you want to do this and get in and be a competitor, get into the competition, then you can join Cyber Patriots now.
Definitely.
Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. So, Namdi, this is my buddy. This is amazing. Cybersecurity in high school. I absolutely love this young man's passion. So
Thank you so
everyone
much.
is super excited about how passionate you are about the industry. And this is what we tell people. Like, and I'm really talking to the parents now. If your kids are tinkerers and they're breaking stuff in your house and they're trying to figure out how things work, point them in a direction of a cyber patriots, or let them put that energy to work, because they have they're curious, they want to try to figure out like what's happening, what's inside the computer, what's going on. If they're gamers, I know that's another space that parents are like, omg, these video games. We can take that energy and point it into the direction of,
Definitely.
right? Are you a gamer?
I am, and if I can chime in right here, is the fact that even if you're a gamer and you like video games, there's also, separate from Cyber Patriot, what we do in these clubs and a lot of cyber clubs around the country is there are many capture the flag events that are happening. And to talk about what that is basically capture the flag in cyberspace is a competition where you're trying to get somewhere, whether it is get inside a system or use your cyber defensive skills. And the key is to capture this flag, which is sort of just a key, sort of like a password. And then that gives you points for that competition. And there's so many capture the flag events that are based around video games. So the whole capture the flag is actually a video game. You play it, and then it has like different cyber related scenarios of social engineering, ethical hacking, all of that, where you can play the game. It's really fun, really engaging, and then at the same time you're also completing cyber challenges. So if you like that sort of thing, there are plenty of capture the flags also out there that are really engaging in that regard.
I think the parents are all going to jump up and down, including me. Like, I want to know exactly which ones, because even my 5-year-old that's about to be 6 is is a gamer already. It's nuts. So I know all the parents out there are going to be like, Parsia, what? You'll have to. We'll connect afterwards, and I'll make sure to put stuff in the
Of
chat so
course.
that we can share that information. So if your kids are gamers, if your kids are just tinkerers breaking into stuff, and this is a wonderful, wonderful
It is.
way to get them interested in cybersecurity and robotics and STEM as a whole. So it's awesome. So Parsia, so now you're in the club, you're growing in the club, you're learning new things, then you eventually become the vice president and the president of the club, which is in and of itself phenomenal. So you're showing the leadership skills, you're getting and you said what was really exciting was that all the people who were juniors and seniors when you were coming in were so excited to bring you
Yes.
in and to show you what they were doing. And it was just like this passionate group of students, right?
Definitely. Yes.
Okay,
It was
cool.
amazing.
So in the club, so while you're in the clubs and while you're in school in the so did were you in the club and in the cyber academy at the same time? Because I know like the classes for cyber academy are a little bit different. Do you have to be a junior to go into the classes?
Oh
Because
no,
the
the
club is
classes
separate from
are
the classes,
also
right?
yes, the classes also start from freshman year, and the great thing about academies, they have sort of pathways for the different interests that you have. If your interest is cyber and information technology, there's a pathway of classes for that. If your interest is auto technology, there's a pathway for that. Criminology, even like cosmetology, all of these, the academy has amazing classes that are sort of in a pathway to make sure you start from freshman year and then you end in senior year and you've taken all of the classes.
Cool. So you took the cyber path.
Yes.
And so the classes that you took lined you up to get which types of certifications?
Yeah, so these classes are mostly lined up to get each of them. You have potential to get two or even three certifications. They cover both hands-on and theory. So the CompTIA certifications that we get from these classes are more of the theory side of the knowledge, while the TestStat certifications they offer is more of the hands-on. And it's amazing because when it comes to employers looking for these abilities, not only is it obviously good to know the theories and the concepts, but the experience and knowing how to actually put those to good use is, I think, very important that these classes cover.
So that's amazing. So some of the things that you talked about, we've been talking about on LinkedIn just this week, which is there was an executive order that was put into place around skills and making sure, and there's a big discussion around people actually getting the real skills, like hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing to have theory, it's one thing to do, to have the theory, but actually putting it into practice is so huge, especially when in in cyber and all this, you have to tinker, like you have to have your hands on the keyboard, you have to be able
Definitely.
to execute and build these skills. And these classes helped you do that.
Yes. Yes.
So Namdi wants to know, how can we buy stock in you? We want to
Definitely
know.
let you know in the future, of course.
Future billionaire. You can say your first, well, it's probably not your first time being interviewed, but you don't forget us. Don't forget breaking into cybersecurity
Of
when you're
course not. Of
thinking
course not.
huge.
This is amazing. I'm so glad to be a part of this. Meet all these amazing individuals in the cyber workspace. Learn from them.
Yes. Yeah, totally. So, Parsia, so you said that um, 2 to 3 certifications. So the lab is all about the hands-on execution. That's what
Mhm.
your teacher is saying here, Mr. Wolfgang. How do you pronounce
Yep.
his last name?
Ordner.
Mr. Ortner is saying lab is all about the hands-on execution. So Mr. Ortner had them in labs. So you're learning, you can get up to 2 to 3 certifications per class. Talk to us about the different certifications that you've been getting. And you can start getting these certifications freshman year.
Freshman year, that is correct. These are all
Okay.
industry level certifications. I'm sure many here know about them. The CompTIA certification. So far, I've attained CompTIA's IT Fundamentals Plus and Server Plus. And currently, I'm actually working on my Security Plus and A Plus sort of things, which is the security and the computer hardware. And those are the CompTIA side. But I'm also, so the test outside is lots of hands-on experience. So the test out gives you basically it's very lined up with the CompTIA version. So Security Plus from CompTIA. There's a Security Pro from Test Out that I've received, IT Fundamentals Pro, Server Pro, and a PC Pro. So those are the certifications that I've received so far, and currently, working on A Plus, Security Plus, and AWS's Cloud Certified Cloud Practitioner.
That is so exciting. So you already have. I just want to reconfirm what you said. You already have Server Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yep.
You have what's the other CompTIA one that you have already?
IT Fundamentals Plus. That's the base one you can get in freshman year.
Okay, so you can get them in freshman year. And Mr. Ortner is saying if planned out in advance, you can get 6 to 8 certifications in this kind of a program in a high school in
That
3
is
years.
100% correct.
So,
In 4 years, you can easily get 10 if you pick out the right classes.
yeah. So that's awesome. So being a part of something like this, a cyber academy, like think about, some of the folks in the cybersecurity industry, like we have to put aside work time and all these different things to go get these certifications,
Of
and you're
course.
getting them straight out of high school, and that is amazing.
Yes,
I
the fact that
cannot.
they offer this is just amazing. More and more schools should offer this, because this sort of having the academy and these amazing classes while you're in school, not only do they give you a head start, but they just get you amazing industry level certifications that you can put to good use.
Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree. So you're studying right now for Security Plus, and you're studying right now for, you have Server Plus, you have A Plus. No, you're studying right now for Security Plus and A Plus, right?
Yep, that's correct.
And are you also, because I know the AWS certification is a part of the future. Is it currently a part of the program now, or is it for like next
It's
year?
part of the future program. I'm taking this class online with the Northern Virginia Community College.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So just so people know, there's an AWS class, or some practitioners from AWS are partnering with these different programs too, and teaching high school students to get the AWS. Which certification is it, Parsia?
Certified Cloud Practitioner. It's the base certification in their pathway.
Right. So certified cloud practitioner, so that all of these students will now have that first certification and exposure and understanding of the cloud, that's where pretty much everything lives today.
Yeah,
Parsia, if you had, so, we went through your whole entire pretty much high school career, and you have your certifications, you're using the summer to get more. Tell me about what you're doing right now at the community college level, because there's, I know, a community college partnership, which is likely what is happening in a lot of other um, uh, counties and stuff around the country, where usually high school students are able to take classes in community college, or like, partner, or right when you're done in your senior year, you can, also utilize the community college space to continue your knowledge. So tell us about what you're doing there with that.
Yeah, so with sort of Nova, so as soon as this quarantine hit, unfortunately, we weren't able to finish high school the way we were supposed to, and basically, we were sort of left alone. I was like, what can I do this quarantine? It's boring. How can I get something out of this? So I decided to keep going. Because school got canceled, we weren't able to receive the A plus and Security Plus certifications. So I'm still studying to hopefully get those later. And I was like, well, better make something out of this. So I signed up for Nova, which thanks to them, they offered free classes for graduated seniors because of the quarantine situation. And I took advantage of that, took a class that basically is a 6-week course on getting the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, and halfway done. Hopefully, I can get that in the next few weeks. But yeah, that's the class I'm working with Nova before I move out to college.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. So, folks, if you're in this area, Northern Virginia Community College, and I'm assuming this is very, very similar in many colleges and many, states around the country, but specifically in the DMV, or Northern Virginia, if you're in Fairfax County or Loudoun County, or, where Nova is, definitely your students can be doing this, taking free courses. So Mr. Ortner wants to know, share how many students passed the Security Pro certification in your class.
Oh, we had 100% pass rate. Thanks
That
to
is great.
Mr. Ordner's amazing teaching. We 100% pass rate. We had, I believe, 15 people in that class. And to reiterate, the security class is basically our highest end class. Usually, people take it in their senior year. So that was great seeing 15 people passed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And Miss Shelley Farquharson says, yes, we're excited. It's coming. The AWS is coming in the 2020 to 2021 school year. And Mr. Ortner is the instructor and dual enrolled with Northern Virginia Community College. So the AWS certification, and Mr. Ortner says, I just got the certification myself in AWS. So he's getting certified, teaching the kids, and then they get their certification. So this is just absolutely amazing. So Parsia, talk to us about, I know you're still looking for internship opportunities because you're going to college. And where are you going to college again?
I'm going to college for Purdue University in West Lafayette,
Yep.
studying cybersecurity there.
So he's going to Purdue and study cybersecurity. Still looking for an internship, right? Because I know some of the internship programs, the more formal internship programs, Parsia would have potentially gone into, but it conflicted with the timing of going to school.
Timing with school and the whole like pandemic situation, quarantine. Unfortunately, many internships sort of did not accept anymore because of that, which is totally understandable.
Yeah. Yeah. And high school internships, and this is how like I got involved with the Marshall High School STEM Academy. Well, number one, I was introduced to this awesome group of students to come in and kind of talk about cyber careers, and then have had many other always I'd like to bring in practitioners, because I say all the time I'm more on the HR side. So really helping to build the talent, bring the talent in, and get you guys into opportunities, right? That's really my area of expertise. And I like to bring in and have additional people come and talk to you. So the actual practitioners. So, we've had a number of people. I've brought in other people to come in and talk to the group and kind of talk about their careers and all the different ways that when you leave a cybersecurity, the classroom, what you're out there doing in the real world, right? When you get a job. And so Parse is still looking for internship opportunities. So one of the things is high school internships tend to be a little bit trickier to get. I know AWS is partnering to make sure that you all have some good experience through an internship program. And I'm a huge believer of internships because by getting that hands-on skill, by actually going into the organization, even if it's from a virtual perspective now, because many of the internships now are virtual, you get an understanding of what is happening, like the real world, what are the real true problems that are going on inside of these different organizations, and how you would fit in, what it would be like if you were an employee or when you become an employee. It's kind of like a little taste of being an employee in an organization versus what's going on in school. So I'm a huge proponent of internship opportunities. Parsia is still looking for one. So anybody out there that wants a cybersecurity guru at this age already in high school, just graduated, he is still looking. You can reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with him on LinkedIn. And he's just amazing. So
fantastic.
Ms. Shelley says, business partners, Marshall Academy needs you. Collaborate with us as speakers for internships, job shadows, etc. Career experience specialist. And that is Miss Shelley Farquharson. And she is absolutely correct. When Tony Barnett asked me to come and meet Shelley and speak with her, I think 2 summers ago, I was just floored by all that you had going on. And it's just been an absolute pleasure for me. And all I want to do is continue to help you all grow and get more internship opportunities. So can't stress this enough. And I know in Marshall, Marshall is one of many high schools that have cyber academies. But I believe that if you're in the Northern Virginia area, you can, if you're in another high school, you can even come over to Marshall. So you can be at the high school next door at Langley or whatever high school, and then come over to Marshall specifically for this program.
That's true.
Correct, right?
Yes, Ms. Farquharson's work has been amazing when it comes to just opportunities. I'm just going to say opportunities for every student. She's been providing tons and tons of opportunities, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, she's an amazing woman. Awesome person. So Parsia, one final thing right before we wrap, in terms of the kids in your class. So the people who took
Mhm.
the classes with you, were they mostly Marshall kids? Were they kids from other high schools? And this is mainly for the parents, like saying, "Hey, other kids came in," or were most of the kids in your school in Marshall?
Majority of kids are still at Marshall. However, we had classes where like they were pretty much entirely students from other high schools. Like I was part of a class where since these students left a little early to catch their bus, then you would know there was a lot of them because there would only be two of us left in the class when they were gone. So we did have classes where it was pretty much entirely students from other schools. So there are, yeah, Marshall Academy does work with lots of schools around, easily transportation with bus and everything. So that's great. If your school doesn't offer a cyber academy, since lots of schools around us offer academies, but they're specialized in other things. For example, Falls Church High School is specialized more in the medical and EMT sort of the field category. So if you're from that school and are interested in the cyber instead, you can come to Marshall Academy. Same with Marshall kids who go to Falls Church for the medical side.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So, Parsia, this was wonderful. We're at the 35-minute mark. I mean, I could probably just interview you for another half an hour, but I know I'm going to let you go. So, if you wanted to say one final piece of advice to parents, to other kids that potentially want to get into the industry, that are looking up to you and they think that, wow, this guy's so cool, he's getting ready to go to Purdue, he has all these certifications, he's doing all this stuff already, what would you say to the parents, what would you say to the kids?
Oh, to the parents, if your child shows even a little bit of interest, I think one of the greatest things you can do is to invest in that interest and passion. Because as kids, uh, I mean, I'm talking from experience myself. I might be interested in something, and I was, but it wasn't really until my parents actually signed me up for that camp. It's not until my parents actually got me to keep up with this interest, constantly challenging me with new things to do for myself, new projects to undertake. So definitely the best thing as a parent you can do is to invest in that interest, and to because you will definitely see it grow exponentially.
And I want to chime in here. When I was at your school, maybe 2 summers ago, I remember going in and talking, and there were a handful of girls, some young ladies in the group. Not a handful; they were decent. Maybe 2/3. I think maybe it was 2/3 boys, 1/3 girls, something to that effect. And one of the young ladies said, my parents kind of made me sign me up for this, right? So they made her do it. And I remember this, and she said, I didn't know fully understand why. And now I can see how I can potentially make a career out of this.
Hmm.
And that was so exciting for me because, again, and when you're a little kid and you see doctors and lawyers and police officers and all these different people, cybersecurity professional is not like, up on the wall, so to speak, in the elementary schools and stuff like that. There's all these other different types of professions, and we're trying our best to get that there. But it was so exciting, for me to hear that for her to say, I came in kind of blind, I'm doing these things, and it's awesome because my parents forced me into it, but now I'm really excited about that. So that's cool.
Yes.
So now, what would you say to the kids?
To the kids, if you have the interest, definitely keep going. There's this feels like this have so much unknown, and there's so much to explore that and they're so flexible they can tie it to any other interest that you have, fields in technology, STEM, and cyber. So definitely, if you have remotely any interest, there are tons and tons of resources on the internet you can use, and I would do that because. As soon as you start looking at one link here, one link that, one video here, maybe one exercise over here, you'll see that you're so deep in, and there's still so much to explore that you just want to constantly keep learning more and more and more. And there's truly no end to how large this field is.
There really isn't. There really, truly is no end.
Hmm.
It's so exciting. So, two comments before we leave. Miss Shelley says, "Thank you so much. The students inspired me, Wolfgang, and our fellow colleagues at Marshall Academy to follow their passion. We're empowered by their drive, curiosity, and hard work." Yep, they're easy to help. These students are. It's super easy. You want to do more for them. And then Ben says, "You folks are awesome, shaping the next generation of professionals. Sounds like you're doing a great job. Keep up the hard work." So Ben says that, and I know that's directed to Shelly and Wolfgang and the whole team over there who's helping to build this new population of cybersecurity professionals. And then Rosie says, "I agree, Renee. Both 8-year-old and 6-year-old did a
Oh, that's
cybersecurity
nice.
orientation at school. That's awesome." Awesome, awesome, awesome. Rosie, we got to bring them on the show. So Parsia, thank you so much. We're almost at the 40-minute mark. You stayed longer than most of our guests that come
Of
on.
course, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Really, really wanted to hear from you, hear about you. You have to keep us posted about your internship. If anyone reaches out and you get an internship opportunity this summer, and then when you're in Purdue, I mean, when you get there, you're going to get internships like coming at you left and right.
Hopefully.
But this summer, still trying to get you in for a couple of weeks in an organization. Keep us posted, and we have to have you back on in a year or two when we
Of
know
course.
when we see you progress in your career. So exciting. We're
Of
also
course.
really
Always a pleasure to be part of these and learn from everyone.
okay. Awesome, awesome. All right.
All
So
right.
thank you, Parsia. Awesome time, everyone. See you tomorrow. This is another edition of Breaking Into Cybersecurity. This is the original OG. This is the original how we started getting to with young people, not only young, but people with under 5 years experience, really having them come on the show and talk about how they're breaking into the industry. Tomorrow we do the podcast and mashup on Fridays. So we look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.
Bye.